And colleagues, if you can hear me on another computer, last minute, team, last minute. Thanks, Shell. We are done. With an enormous thanks to Shell. So you were so hot in this Right Club, Shell. You overheated one computer and I had to move to another one. You just burn it up, Shell. You burn it up. So look, we'll start with Shelley, who is like just everything to me. So Shell, rescue me from the abyss. What were you writing on?
I am challenging myself to reflect on the. Oh, can you hear me?
I can, Dom. I can. Excited.
Yeah, just because it's funny. This morning we talked about the conclusion, and it tied in with what I was talking about with Helen this morning about the abstract and also just my research and just the narrative that goes with it. And it reminded me of the workshop I did with Hugh Kearns and Think Well around the narrative ninja. And they gave a tip of replacing the logical as you're thinking about the structure, this and then this and then this, to see if you can tell your story with buts and therefore. So I was just going back and reflecting on that and just trying to work out, that big structure. So I've been leaning a lot lately on dictation when I've big thinking and I just want to get it out. So that's what I was pulling together during my 30 minutes.
That's brilliant. Well done, user Shell. That sounds, what it sounds like is when I first met you, you were always worried about how things connect. And what I've seen with you in the last 3 months is everything's bloody connecting.
Yeah.
Oh, you're the best, Shell. Well done, you. Let's go to the legendary Lorraine now. Lorraine, I'm excited. Did we click over the 100,000 words? No, where are we on the journey?
Do you know what I did? That was such good conversation this morning around discussion and conclusion. So I've set up a document with like the dot points, and what that's done is it's opened up a whole nother area for me to research, to include in that around, look, there's veterans all around the world. There are motorcycle clubs all around the world. What do they do? What are they doing? How does this fit internationally? So this is why this research matters, because just one quick thing, the government released, I think it's like $56 million for veterans family hubs, right, for support services. That's great. However, most of that money's gone to RSLs. This group will not interact with the RSLs. There's historical reasons, there's current reasons. So this is why the government needs to read this research. The most at risk of suicide are the vets that have been to war, the combat vets. These are the ones that will not engage with the services where the money's gone to. So this is why you need to read this to have that real insight to what it is about this group that keeps them disconnected from traditional treatment services. And yeah, so I'm so excited about where this research can go.
That's just changed my life. So I think that there's a tendency in government, and I'm in favour of regulation and governance, all of that, but there's a tendency in government to funnel money to re-intermediating organisations like the RSL. And the trouble is the most vulnerable, the most interesting groups are not joiners.
Yes.
So what do you do with that?
Yeah, exactly. So I've got ideas of what money could go where, what resources could be developed and designed to attract these particular types of groups. But it's around that international area as well that I'll start to look for the conclusion chapter, which I think will be really exciting. Can I just run past, I've been toying with my title from the beginning. So I spoke to somebody and I said, how would you, in a nutshell, describe this peer support within the club? And they said, it's just being there. So I thought, oh,
That's your title.
stars I'm being there. So I've gone with being there, brothers by choice, a veteran's way of life in a motorcycle club.
Right, so I absolutely love it. But you know what? We'll go to Damien because Damien's great on the title as well. But you know what? I'd use the Lorraine. What did the gentleman say? It's just being there.
Being there. It's just being there.
It's just, or did he just say being? Because I would actually put in it's just being there because I love the use of the
Okay.
just. It's just being there because that's a great Australianism because
Yes.
we use the word just to signify something incredibly important. So when the rest of the culture, we must find, Susan, it's the weird thing about Australian English, right? So we use the word just. So like look, it's just the end of the world, right? It's just the end of the world. So we minimize something that's absolutely crucial. So I would actually put that mitigating early phrase in. Oh, Lorraine, brilliant. Look, we'll go to Damien because he's the better part of myself. So Damien, do you agree with that, Damien, in terms of the title? I love that.
I think it works for the title. I will say I have a hatred of the word just, and every time I hired a new grad, the first thing I did was I made them take the word just out of their email vocabulary. You're not just following up, you're following up, they missed a deadline. You're not just like asking for something, you're asking for something, it's their job. Like, it's a very key thing. I will say, from a gender perspective, women are more likely to diminish themselves in emails and try and diminish their requests. And it was a real thing I always made people take out of their emails was like, be as forthright and direct as you possibly can because you're asking someone to do their job. You're not.
But therefore, isn't it amazing that that group of veterans use the word just? Doesn't that make it even more interesting? So Lorraine, with a bit like this, has recorded. Think about what Damien just said there. That's brilliant. And that becomes the introduction. Oh, Damien, you're legendary. Now, okay, I know that was a tough right club for you. So how did you go, Damien?
So I'm still on my writer's room chapter, which has been quite a big restructure, and I
Yeah.
think it's been a good restructure. I've put aside about 8,000 words, which will be a journal article in themselves. I think they're a journal article on dramatic truth, which this chapter at some point was all about, but I think doesn't quite fit in what I want to say.
Right.
And I've put the focus more back onto the questions of policy. So there'll be a little bit on dramatic truth around the kind of bringing truth from perspective, but how that actually plays out on television. So, you know, the dominance of coming out narratives and things like that. But this today was focused on where I got to with that identity politics thing that I was running with for a few weeks, which is the final section of this policy to bring people into writers' rooms because of a dominating identity that they say, you know, you're queer, you're in this writer's room to be queer, and how that was putting them, limiting their careers because they were only there to be the queer perspective, but also putting this huge amount of pressure on people to represent an entire, very diverse, non-monolithic, not all white, and most of the people were white community, like that they were then having to represent as this singular perspective. And some of the ways they got around that, you know, I have examples of co-writing a gay Indian character between a cis heterosexual Indian woman and a gay white man, collaborating to go, well, let's bring our perspectives together because this is the only way we can get this perspective in the room. And that as like a imperfect solution.
Wow. Right, Damien, again, I hope this is recorded because what you just said there is revelatory, mate. Revelatory. And not many people can get rid of 8,000 words and the argument still operates. Shows you how brilliant you are, Damien. Hang in there, mate. Hard yakka. Hard yakka. Should we go to the light of our lives, Max? Hi, Max. Hi, Max. Sound, Max.
Hey.
Hey. So what were you writing on, Maxter?
I was organizing what I read from a book about how writers engage, learners engage with feedback on their writing.
Oh, I'm interested. And what have you
Yeah.
found out? What did they say, Max?
So I learned that there's a lot of individual variation, which is not that surprising, but what I found more surprising was that some studied variables include institutional culture. For example, like if the culture of the institution is very I don't know what the word is, but like not that vertical, like the power relations are not that vertical, they're more horizontal,
Yes.
then students may be able to be more open to ask follow-up questions to their teachers when they don't understand something, rather than just, you know, blindly accepting or just thinking that, oh, I guess the teacher's right because the teacher said so, which I found very interesting. I like studying academic literacy and English for academic purposes. So I think disciplinary variation would also be a very interesting variable that people have not studied. I can imagine that feedback interaction would be very different in the humanities than in the hard sciences. So yeah.
Max, can I just say, Shelley and I are looking at you going, you're a legend. Shell, I think we've met the next great scholar of academic literacies. It's just unbelievable. So Max, that's a brilliant argument to look at what I would call horizontal feedback, which is more peer review compared to top down. So Max, that's brilliant. Keep doing that, Max. Keep doing that.
Thank you.
Oh, you're amazing, mate. Unbelievable. Let's go to Invita, the light of our lives with the glamorous hair down this week. Now, Invita, what were you writing on, darling? Come on.
So I've been working on the manuscript for my final analysis. And I'm not sure whether it's a manuscript or if it's going to be a chapter, because and I could use some advice. So I've been writing this madly because the data set that I've used originates from the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare. So all my results have to be sent back to them for them to sign off on, because it's confidential data. And I was under the impression, and I misunderstood, that I thought it was going to be only my results tables that needed to go, but it's also the interpretation. So they require a chapter which is very close to being either put into your thesis or submitted to a journal for them to read, assess, and determine whether you can, whether I can showcase certain numbers or not, or is it going to lead to identifying the individuals who were in the cohort that I'm analyzing. So it's a little complex in that sense. So I'm madly writing to get this into them, because I've also heard that they take about 2 or 3 months to get back to you on whether, like, what do they think about your results tables? What do they think about your interpretation? Are you giving out too much information which could be traced back? So I'm writing that manuscript / chapter at the moment.
Oh, gee, no pressure, no pressure. And can I just check, sort of putting the dean hat on, can I just check, did you sign your IP away? So Susan, in Australia, doctoral students own their own IP unless they sign it away. And Vita, did you sign it away, or is it your IP?
I believe the work contained in my doctoral thesis is my IP, but yes, the IP of the project belongs to the research center that I'm with, because I came on to a project. I didn't design my own.
Got it. Wow. Hard yakka, mate. Hard yakka. You keep going. You're doing well. And if you need me to have a bit of a look before you send it off, do that. All right. You're the best, mate.
Thank you, Tara.
You're the best, mate. Let's go to Susan, our Susan from New York City now. Now, I always get so excited. I know Mary does too. Now, Susan, what were you working on?
Well, as I announced the last time I was here, I earned my certification in genealogy. And the group that I've been working with, they're keeping statistics on because we go through 3 judges, and if there's a disagreement, a serious disagreement, you go to a 4th judge. So we're keeping statistics on how many people went through 3 judges and how many people went to 4 judges. I went to 3 judges, and we're keeping statistics on what the judge said about each section of the portfolio. So what and it's color coded, and it's in an Excel spreadsheet. So that's what I was doing. I was color coding what my judges told me into an Excel spreadsheet.
That's amazing. And I'd imagine, considering you had 3 rather than 4, that the 3 were rather excited with you, Susan, I would imagine.
One of them was very excited with me. One of them was so-so, but that one did not agree with anybody. They're really picky. They didn't agree with anyone. And the other one was, I don't know their names or any of them, although I think I know who one of them is, just based on the kind of congratulations that person gave me, the information he included in the congratulations, which he would only have known if he had read my portfolio. But anyway, one of them was very excited. One of them was, they were all excited, but one of them was very excited. One of them was moderately excited. And one of them didn't agree with anyone. And, but he couldn't really find anything wrong.
Yeah, look, don't worry, Susan, I'll handle that one. They're, as I would say in Australia, Susan, they're the people I take out in the car park. So don't worry about that. I'll look after that person. And Susan, you're in. So that's amazing. Oh, I'm fascinated. I've learnt so much through this process, mate. You're legendary. Well done, you. Fantastic. Should we go to our Noor, who I adore like life itself? Good morning.
Good morning, Tara.
Eid Mubarak, my darling. So how are you going?
Greeting from Kendari, Indonesia. So yeah, I was working on my document, like you advised me last week that I have to delve about depth and breadth, about scale and scope. So yes, thank you so much. I was working about it. First thing first, I identified my approach, my research limitations, and also scale. I think it's really important to understand it. And also, maybe because of 8 preparations, Sarah, this week it was so hectic. So, but yeah, I spent 1 hour every day for yeah. for drafting about it, and maybe I will send it to you to get your feedback if you don't mind.
Good, very good. Yep.
Your feedback is really, yeah. And also I'm struggling now to not only about the scale and depth and breadth, but also I try to compile the research instrument. Yeah, so I try to even though it's for ethics just example, but I would like to make it more comprehensive and more operationalized in my research.
Nice.
So I try to try to make it based on the research maybe you have any suggestions how to design it, Tara, because I have a focus group discussion. I have a semi-structured interview and narrative oral interview. So I try to make it more operationalized to my research because I don't have a time now. Now, yeah, it's almost finished for an April, right? So I have to more hurry. I mean, I have to go to my fieldwork as soon as possible because I have a 8 months research activities in 2 field sites in small islands, and now we have experiencing weather, climate, and changes every day, waves, and I have to take into account about the barriers.
Wow.
That's it, Tara.
So, Norma, darling, what I would
Yes.
do, and look, Shell can disagree with me because she's the brilliant human on the call, but what I would do is I would spend time, and you've done this brilliantly, on research design and make sure that's presented in a fully fleshed fashion. But then I would actually have a heading, and I don't think enough
Yes.
people do this. You can do it, where you actually use the phrase, you operationalize your research design. Use that phrase as a subheading, and then explain, my darling, to the examiner, pretend I'm the examiner, take the research design for a walk. What do you think is going to happen? How does the design, how is it then applied? And write that for me. And that's a section.
Yes, okay. All right.
Have a go.
Second. Yes. Yes, and I will arrive to Darwin next week because because I would like to submit my ethics in Darwin. Yeah, yes.
Brilliant, my love. I will see you next week. Legendary you are. Yay.
Yeah.
Should we go to the wonderful Bree, who's just a little bit behind Noor? She's about to do a confirmation of cancer. So, Bree, what were we working on, Angel?
I have 2 presentations on the go at the moment. So the other presentation is for a Sweden conference, the first ever person-centered Care Swedish conference, where I will be presenting a scoping review protocol.
Ew.
Yep.
Oh, darling, that's fantastic. Or scoping reviews. They're the new thing, you know. Systematic reviews are over. It's all scoping reviews
I
now.
see that, yes.
I
Yeah,
know you
it's
see
become
that.
popular, yep.
Oh, Bree, darling, I'm so proud of you. Well done. Hang in there, sweetness. You're doing well. We're with you.
Thank you.
Come on. Let's go to our favourite lifestyle location with shoulders out this week. Kirsty, what are we working on?
I am doing the excruciating task of cutting my paper number 2 back to 7,000 words from 10,000 words.
Oh.
So I know I'm so excited and proud of it. And all my supervisors went, yep, submit it. And I just missed that one detail because the journal that I put my first one into was 10,000 words. And this one's 7. So it's my fault. But anyway, so I'm going through and attempting to cut it back. So yeah, it's really, it's just, we all get it. But I thought I'd use Right Club to do it because we have such good energy here. So I'm not feeling too bad about it.
There are 2 ways to do it. Both are dreadful. One is actually line at a time, seeing if you can remove 1 or 2 sentences in a paragraph. The dream way to do it is, in some ways, I think how Damien did it and how I often try and do it is take a section out that then becomes something else. So that becomes the starter yogurt for the other piece, right? So Damien, is that right? That's how you did it? You took a section out?
Yeah. There's a section that lifted out quite smoothly, and then I could put other stuff in.
Yeah, so is that going to work, or are you doing the dreadful thing sentence at a time?
I think I can do a little bit of both.
Nice one.
In my first article, I could take a whole section out and then made it into a chapter in my thesis. So that was good. But this one, I've actually developed a framework as well that came out of the data. So it's sort of more difficult to take bits out. But you know what? I'm up for the challenge.
That's why I want to be you. I want to be you, Kirsty, because Kirsty's up for the challenge. You are brilliant. Hang in there, darling. You're doing a fantastic job. Beautiful, Maeve. Now, you were very focused during that Right Club. What were you working on, darling?
I was working on something to send to you. So, so I'm not finished. I don't want you to think, oh, she's finished. I'm not. But I have sent you everything except the sonics chapter.
Very good. Very good. I will, as I said, I'm looking at wonderful Chris's thesis this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, Maeve, you'll be job number 1 on Saturday. Well done. Are you happy with it, Angel?
I am actually, and psychogeography crept to 9,000, just about 9,000 words, nearly 60 references. And as I got to that, and then it was really fascinating. There was this like odd little, I don't know, a couple of sentences, and you'd said, you know, make that work kind of thing. And because I had actually in the end done so much reading, I went, I know how to make that work. And I just stuck 2 more references with it. And I believe it worked. You can tell me. But I think sonics will need some work, and I would really appreciate being able to send that to you a couple of times.
Absolutely.
But Jacob also has school holidays for 2 weeks starting today. My grandson is 6. Yeah, so appreciated when your daughter came up, Brianna. Jacob was actually home that day because we were worried it might flood. And I nearly called him in, but I told him to keep away while I was doing my hour. So
That would have been so cool.
There's
Yeah, my kids are always listening.
Well, great. Great nanny.
Yes, I know Maeve's the most glamorous grandmother in the Antipodes, can I say? Fantastic. Go,
Yes.
Maeve. Very proud of you, superstar. Look, we'll go to Mary, and look, we'll wave to Kat if she would like to say hello. We never put pressure on people that are in their first gig. Hello, Kat. But we'll go to Mary and then finish with Kat if you want to just say hi to us at the end, beautiful Kat. By the way, one of my favourite people on the planet Earth is the Chewit. So when I saw Chewit, I went, oh, I wonder if you're related. So Mary, now how did you go? So what were we writing on, Mary?
Yeah, so my book chapter is due 1st of May, so that's what I'm focused on now, because I've submitted a chapter to my supervisors of my thesis, and I'm waiting to hear back by the end of the month about that. So now the focus is on that. And I actually have to say that I'm really enjoying taking my focus off my master's thesis and going back to my honours research and reframing that and trying, and I'm looking at the people who are editing the book and looking at their research and trying to work out how my chapter fits in with their research, which is on deep history.
I love you for doing that. As someone who's edited some books, can I say it's a bit of a nightmare trying to get all the chapters to align, because getting people to play well with others is challenging. So on behalf of your editors, thank you for doing that, Mary.
I thought I'd better do that because that was the main reason I looked back and why that writing was rejected as an article was that I hadn't placed it properly in a field of other research. So that was seemed to be the main criticism. So I thought I had, but I obviously hadn't. So I'm working again on that.
And that's hard to do because, I mean, how are you defining a field, to be frank? How are you defining I mean, you know, that's where it gets messy. But Mary, we're with you. That's excellent. Fantastic. And look, we'll finish just with the wonderful Kat. You are so welcome, Kat. Lovely to see you, and welcome to your first gig. Did you have a go at writing something? What did you write on, Kat?
Thank you. Yeah, I was writing. I'm writing old school. I'm just consolidating all the results for my final. My thesis is broken into 3 major results sections, or 3 papers. The first paper's published. I've got 2 underway, and this is the final one. I had done lots of graphing and illustrating and categorizing and things, and now I'm actually just writing it free flow. What are my main messages that I really want to get out of my whole thesis at the end of the day? And the section I was just writing for now was about concepts like good, bad, and better, and how they relate to symbolic violence and capitalism, and the kind of implications for ethics and morality around, you know, if you're within an organization that sets parameters around what's good and bad, or pushes people to be better, that's already making assumptions about it's sitting within a positionality of moral appropriateness, and it's kind of removing people's opportunity to really engage in moral questioning and discourse if there's these limitations on what's good and bad already assumed.
Is anybody else incredibly glad that Kat turned up to the gig today? I feel a lot smarter. Kat, can I introduce you to Julie? Julie, Kat, you two have all these very, very interesting conversations that you sort of need to have at some point. So, Kat, if you do come to one of our gigs again, we'd love to see you and have a chat with Julie. That sounds absolutely amazing, Kat. And just to finish off, colleagues, thank you for putting up with my weird technology today. You were so hot, you overheated one computer and I had to move to the other one. So thank you for that. But can I say how Kat's handled that when you're needing to think differently, changing platforms, moving to pen and paper and so forth, creates a very different academic literacy and way of thinking. So, Kat, we were meant to see you today and you are inspirational for us, and it's lovely to see you, and I hope we see you again. Colleagues, have a lovely day. Enjoy the weekend. Noah, enjoy it, my darling, and we'll see you back in Darwin next week. Love yous all. See you soon. Good energy, people. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.